Welcome to Live Daf, your online Daf Yomi Shir.
Shalom Aleichem and welcome back to today's Daf Yomi Nedarim Daf Daled. We begin right on top of the Amud, which is actually right in the midst of a sugya. So yesterday we discussed a mutual hekesh, a double connection between the parsha of Nedarim and the parsha of Nazirus. And we learned as follows: just like Yadois applies to Nazirus, it applies to Nedarim as well. So Yadois being that abbreviated expression of commitment, only a partial expression, it counts as though he expressed fully his desire to commit to Nazirus or to a specific particular, Isser of Neder. Then we had another connection, just like by Neder. One is not allowed to violate his words. Lo yachel, bal yachel. And also bal ta'acher. Don't delay. Suppose you committed to bringing a korban. Don't delay. Don't diddle-daddle. Likewise, by Nazirus, we have those very same isurim, bal yachel and bal ta'acher. Bal ta'acher, don't delay Nazirus, asks the Gemara, what do you mean? Either I am or I am not. If I committed to being a Nazir, it gets activated immediately. I am already a Nazir. What do you mean, don't delay? I am. Well, if he said, I'm going to eventually become a Nazir, when I decide at a time of my choosing, then there is no Baal Ta'achar. There's no delay. He's not delaying. He clearly left it up to himself. So, how does Baal Ta'achar apply to Nazir? The Gemara gave us an answer. Answer number one was, he said, look, I am now accepting upon myself a commitment to live as a Nazir sometime during my lifetime, in which case he should do it quickly. He never knows when his time will come. So delaying entails Baal Ta'achar. That was answer number one. The Gemara today will propose several more answers to this question. Again, what is the question? How does Baal Ta'achar, the Isser against delaying, apply to Nazir? Says the Gemara on the top line, Rav Acha bar Yaakov Amar Kigai, for instance, the Nadar, or according to the Bach, the Nazar, he committed to being a Nazir, Vu beveis hakvaros, he was at the wrong place. He was in a cemetery. A Nazir may not become Tamei. That's exactly where he decided to accept upon himself Nazirus. Get out of there quickly, without a hurry, without delay. So delaying entails Baal Ta'achar. Well, Hanich Lemad Omar. We know there's machlekes between Rabbi Yehuda and Reish Lakish in Maseches Nazir Daf Tezayin regarding this specific case. He accepted upon himself Nazirus while in a Beis HaKvaros. Rabbi Yehuda says, well, Nazirus happens right away, despite the fact that he is now Tamei. According to Reish Lakish, no, it doesn't happen right away. It sort of hovers, it waits until he leaves the Beis HaKvaros, and then, actually, according to Rabbi Yehuda, it happens right away. According to Reish Lakish, it doesn't happen. He has to leave and then re-accept upon himself Nazirus, because you can't accept Nazirus in a Beis HaKvaros. So getting back to our case, he is in a cemetery and committed to being a Nazir. You tell me there is a warning from the Torah, hurry up, don't delay, Baal Ta'achar, get out of the cemetery quickly. So this works very well according to Reish Lakish, that the Nazirus status had not yet arrived while in cemetery. He's instructed to quickly leave, to get the Nazirus activated, otherwise he's getting entangled with Baal Ta'achar. According to Reish Lakish, even in this type of circumstance, the Nazirus gets activated. So it's there. He's already considered a Nazir. Why would he be in danger of transgressing Baal Ta'achar? He's already a Nazir. Void additionally. He tells us that according to all shittas. Chayla Nazirus Leimi Alter Nazirus gets applied right away. Machlekes is only regarding Malchus. Keep the pligi leading Malchus pligi regarding punishing him for eating, some grape-related products while still in the cemetery. That's the Machlekes there. Rabbi Yechanan says he gets Malchus. Rish Lakish says not. Until he goes out, there's not going to be a Malchus. It's a discussion. It's a sugya Maseches Nazir, but ultimately the Nazirus status has arrived. There is no Baal Ta'ach. He's not delaying anything. Answers the Gemara, Afilu Hoche, because even so, there's an issue of delaying. Because keep in mind, he's Tameh. This is not the ultimate fulfillment of Nazirus. He's Nazirus Tahara, Nazirus Tumah right now. He's supposed to become Tahar and then conduct himself as a Nazir Tahar. That's the epitome of Nazirus. And that delay, waiting around before turning into a Nazir Tahar, that triggers Baal Ta'achar. Afilu Hoche, even though he's a Nazir now, but it's less than optimal. He's a Nazir Tameh. Kamle be Baal Ta'achar. You know why he gets Baal Ta'achar if he delays and daddles? Mishum de Kama'achar, because he's delaying Nazirus Tahara, the true, proper Nazirus. So waiting around in that basic verse, delaying the onset of Nazirus Tahara, entails Baal Ta'achar. Omar of Ashi, having said this, being that this is true, that remaining Tameh for an unnecessary, prolonged period involves Baal Ta'achar because he's delaying the Nazirus Tahara, listen to this. Nazir Shatime Atzma B'Mezid, suppose he is a regular Nazir and allows himself to become Tameh willingly, knowingly, Over Mishum Baal Ta'achar the Nazirus Tahara. He also transgressed Baal Ta'achar because he didn't bother fulfilling, completing his Nazirus properly. He became Tameh. He allowed himself to become Tameh. So basically he's sort of delaying the fulfillment, the complete fulfillment of proper Nazirus, Baal Ta'achar. So the question was, where do we find Baal Ta'achar by a Nazir? Answer, when he is allowing the Tumah to linger, which delays the true fulfillment of Nazirus when he's Tar. The next answer, Rav Acha Breder Rav Ika Amar, Oiver B'Baal Ta'achar Taglachta. We know that after his prescribed period of Nazirus, he shaves his hair, he brings karbonos. Suppose he delays the taglachas, that haircut. Baal Ta'achar gets applied in this case. But let me boil ad Amar, and it certainly works according to the Shita, which holds that tiglachas ma'akevas, that shearing one's hair prevents him from shearing one's hair is a critical component in releasing him from the Nazirus status. So according to that view, delaying the taglachas is certainly considered Baal Ta'achar because he hadn't completed the Nazirus process, of which taglachas is a crucial element. But listen to this. Even the opinion which holds shaving is not critical for the completion, for the fulfillment of a Nazirus. He can go have his wine even without shaving. Still, Baal Ta'achar applies. Because after all, mitzvahs kiluach mi'ala mikayim. At the end of the day, he was not mikayim, the mitzvah of shaving. It's not perhaps something which holds him back from being released from his Nazirus, but it is a mitzvah. And delaying the kiyum of that mitzvah entails Baal Ta'achar because, after all, it was part of the Nazirus process. Not critical, not mi'akiv, but it is part and parcel of the process, and he's delaying one element of his Nazirus which came about through a neder, Baal Ta'achar. Here comes answer number 4. Listen to this. He finished his Nazirus, but he has yet to bring his karbonis. by delaying the karbanis, he is over on Baal Ta'achar. And the Ran adds, now he has actually more time for Baal Ta'achar, because typically we know that when it comes to karbanis, you have 3 regalim, 3 yomim tovim until Baal Ta'achar kicks in. We treat these karbanis like ordinary karbanis, in which case Baal Ta'achar doesn't set in immediately, rather he has a 3 regal grace period. So that's the example of Baal Ta'achar applicable to Nazirus as well. Asks the Gemara, but why do we need a special pasuk that Baal Ta'achar applies to delaying karbanis of a Nazir? Why would it be different than any other carbon which has Baal Ta'achar, which already has another pasuk for that, as discussed extensively in Maseches Rosh Hashanah? Ubin hacha nafkala, is it learned from here? Mihasam nafkala, it's learned from there. Kidara shidrashenu, hurry up, bring your karbanis. Hashem will expect you to do it. Kidara shidrashenu is learned for chatois and ashamis. Elu chatois v'ashamis, be careful to bring them in a timely manner. Well, I would assume that the same applies to karbanis nazir as well. The chatas, etc., that the nazir brings. Actually, in Rosh Hashanah, it says chatas v'ashamis, and it goes through a fuller list. So basically, we have all the karbanis covered, including the karbanis of a nazir. Why do we need a special pasuk by nazir? Why would I think it's different than other karbanis? Yes, I would. Perhaps I would say chidushu shechit shetayr benazir. It was a chidush element, an anomaly element. There's something different, something out of the ordinary found by karbanis nazir, and perhaps that would prevent Baal Ta'achar. My chidush, what's the exception that you have in mind? Do we mean, in contrast to a typical carbon which you can just commit to bringing, you can't commit to bringing a chatas of a nazir. Unless you're a nazir, it doesn't work. So there's something deficient about it. It's not so neder related. You can't just volunteer to bring this carbon. So perhaps the halachas that apply to typical vows, typical commitments, typical nedarim don't apply here. Maybe. Well, hari chatas chelev. What about the regular chatas that a person would bring upon eating forbidden fat? The Rush, by the way, says, why do we always call, the typical standard chatas as chatas chelev? There's so many other transgressions which can trigger a chatas. He says, that's the most commonly brought chatas because, after all, a person is involved in eating very often, and very often that can happen, that he'll stumble upon a forbidden food. So basically it's just a way of referring to the standard chatas brought upon, bringing upon doing an avera, harichatas chelev, that also has the same limitation. She'ein matfisa b'neder. The person can't just wake up one morning, okay, I'm bringing a chatas chelev, even though he had not yet eaten chelev. No such a thing. V'over Baal Ta'achar, and certainly there's Baal Ta'achar there as well, as we had just had the pasuk. Kedar shidrashenu. Every chatas has Baal Ta'achar. So why would nazir be different? Ela my chidushe. So what then is the chiddush, the anomaly by nazir? Perhaps I would say, Hareini nazir. A person gets up and declares, I am being a nazir, I feel ibn chartzen, separating from a grape pit. That's it. He's very specific about the extent of his nazirus commitment. Guess what? Have a nazir lakoil. All the halachas of nazir suddenly get triggered. This is something unusual. Typically, a person is only committed to what he said. By nazir, we find something unusual and ordinary. Even just a slight reference to an element of the parasha of nazir triggers the entire avalanche. Everything lands on him. He becomes a full-fledged nazir. So therefore, because of this difference, perhaps it's treated differently than a regular neder, and Baal Ta'achar wouldn't apply. Kamashmon, that's why we need a pasuk, a special pasuk, that Baal Ta'achar does apply to nazir as well. Well, this works according to the Shita, ki nazir men chartzen of a nazir lakoil. When he commits to refrain from grape pits, it activates the entire gamut of nazirus. So you have a point. Elul Reb Shimon, according to the other Shita, Reb Shimon the Amar ein nazir, achi yazir ben kulon. In order to really be a true nazir, you have to specify all the Yisurim of Nazir. A great pit won't do. So this factor is non-existent. Michael Lamemar said, then why? Back to the Kasha, why do we need a pasuk for Baal Ta'achar by Nazir? Why would it be different than in the other Neder? Void, another question. You're looking for something that sets Nazir apart, and which would perhaps give the reason to suspend Baal Ta'achar, which gives us the reason to have a new pasuk, right? That's the direction we're going in. So, Void, another question. Hai chidush l'chumrahu. The chidush that you pointed out is actually a stringency, a chumrah. A slight reference to a single halacha of Nazir triggers the entire process. That's a chumrah. If anything, it should bring more halachas, not less. Ella, says the Gemara, rather, my chidushe. What's different about Nazir? The salka de dechamina hoil. Im gilach halachas mishlosh tan yotze. So although the Nazir has to bring 3 karbanos, the oila, the chatas, the shlamim, but ultimately, if he just took 1 carbon, brought it, and decided to shave right then and there, it's okay. He's yaitse. So we see some sort of deficiency in the process. The karbanos aren't really critical and vital to the conclusion of his Nazir, process. So based on that, I would say, well, okay, if we have 1 lukula, perhaps Baal Ta'achar would not be applicable to Nazir as well. Kamashmon, that's why we need a special pasuk. Another approach would be, we'll go back to the original approach. My chidushe, what's special about the Nazir? Mishum deloy matfisoy beneder. Because you can't volunteer. A non-Nazir can't just initiate a commitment. Can't volunteer to bring a chatas Nazir. It just doesn't work. And the question on that was, well, sure, we find something deficient with this carbon, and perhaps it would lead us to suspend Baal Ta'achar, but chatas as well cannot just be initiated at will. What about your kasha? Chatas chelav, that a regular chatas brought as a result of an avera can't either be just brought at whim. And still we see Baal Ta'achar applies. That was your question. We're just sort of recapping our previous discussion. And the Gemara will address that right now. The fact that Chatas Nazir has a deficiency would perhaps indicate there is no Baal Ta'achar. But Chatas Chelev is different. Even though you can't just volunteer a Chatas Chelev, you can't just make a neder to bring that carbon. But there is good reason to believe that there is Baal Ta'achar. You know why? Chatas Chelev, ultimately, it's coming to do something. Ka'asya l'chapar, it's coming to atone for a sin. Baal Ta'achar, don't delay. That makes sense. That Baal Ta'achar applies. But as opposed to Chatas Nazir, l'may asya, what's the Chatas Nazir coming? It's not coming to atone for any sin. So in that case, rest assured, there's no rush, there's no hurry. And therefore we need a pasuk to tell us otherwise. Well, what are the Chatas that an Isha who gave birth brings? What about that Chatas? It's not coming to atone for any sins. And still we find Baal Ta'achar. The Gemara is assuming there's Baal Ta'achar and that, like any other, Chatas. Why? Look, you can't initiate it unless you gave birth. You can't just make a neder to bring it. And there's no kapara being addressed, so why is there Baal Ta'achar? Well, there is something there that doesn't apply to Nazir. Hahi. Kasharyula lemechel b'kachim. Ultimately, that carbon allows the Isha to eat karbanis. And eating karbanis can be a great mitzvah, Rashi said. The Ran says, for instance, carbon Pesach, which is incumbent on Isha as well. So it makes sense not to delay this carbon in order to hasten her access to karbanis, to kachim, as opposed to the Chatas Nazir, which has none of these factors. Number one, you can't just bring it as a neder, unless you're an actual Nazir. So we see it's not so neder related. Number two, it's not coming to address kapara. Number three, it's not allowing you cut. So there really isn't much of a reason to apply Baal Ta'achar. And that's why we need a pasuk to teach us. Yes, Baal Ta'achar applies to Nazirus. And that is learned from the Hekesh, the connection to Nedarim. So just like Baal Ta'achar applies to a neder, you commit to bringing a carbon as a donation, you have to bring it in a hurry. Likewise, the fulfillment of all the Nazirus aspects, including the Karbanis, have to be done in a timely manner. What else do we learn from Nedarim to Nazirus? Amar, let's go back to what we learned. Uma Nedarim ha'av mefer nidre bita, just like by Nedarim, a father has the ability to disrupt his young daughter's Nedarim. Ubal mefer nidre ishte, likewise a husband to his wife. Af Nazirus. Same when it comes to Nazirus. Ha'av mefer nidre Nazirus bita. If one's daughter becomes a Nazir, he can nullify. Ubal mefer Nazirus ishte, and a husband can do the same with his wives. Now, why does the Torah sort of have to trouble itself to set up Nedarim and Nazirus in the same pasuk so that we connect the two and learn these halachas? We have a much more simpler way of deriving this halacha over from Nedarim to Nazirus by way of simple logic called a mamatzinu, an equation, a connection, a logical correlation. Tesi b'mamatzinu min Nedarim. Instead of the Torah actually having to structure it together in the pasuk, we can just say, look, just as we find that the halachas of Afaras Nedarim, father to his daughter, husband to his wife, applies to Neder, it applies to Nazirus as well. After all, Nazirus is like a form of commitment, a form of Neder. Why would it be different? Answers the Gemara, Dilma gabi Nedarim with the Mefer, perhaps I would say, if she makes a Neder, father can interfere. You know why? Because it's an open-ended commitment. It's endless. Mishum delayis leikitzus, it has no prescribed deadline. Right? You can just make something usher on you forever. So it makes sense that the Torah allows the father to step in. Aval gabe Nazirus, in contrast to Nazirus, which has a set limit. The Isle Kitsusa, it has a set time. The Stam Nazirus Lamed Yom, typically a Nazirus, stretches for 30 days. We learn from a gematria. Kodesh Yihiyeh. Right? The letters Yud and Hey and Yud and Hey is gematria 30. So perhaps since it's just a limited thing, okay, swallow it. Emalei, perhaps Torah does not grant father or husband the ability to interfere. Kamashmon. That's the chiddush of the pasuk. By connecting these two concepts, Neder and Nazir in the same pasuk, we learn to learn one from the other, and as we know, we don't oppose or challenge or question a hekesh. Okay, let's go back to the Mishnah, part 2 of the Mishnah. Yadais, an abbreviated expression, a partial expression of Neder or Shvuah, is tantamount to a full expression and commits you to it. So the Mishnah says like this. He turns to his friend. You might want to refer back to the Mishnah Daf Beis Amud Aleph. So we have like this on the third line. He turns to his friend. Mudrani mimcha, mufreshani mimcha, merchakani mimcha. Look, I'm going to keep away from you. And he adds, Shani oichalach, shani toyim lach. The food that I can have from you is usher to me. What I can taste from you is usher to me. These are sort of partial, incomplete expressions, but they constitute a full commitment, a full neder. Says the Gemara by Yasan Daf Daled Amud Beis. Oimel chaver mudarani b'chula. Omar Shmuel b'chula. In all these examples cited by the Mishnah, you should know that it goes together. Just saying, mudrani mimcha doesn't really carry much meaning. You never know what that means. You have to add the second part. Achiyemar shani eichalach. So in addition to part 1, mudrani mimcha or mefreshani mimcha, you have to proceed to part 2. Shani eichalach. It applies to something which potentially I can have from you, that is usher to me. Or likewise, shani tayim lacha, something which I can taste from you. So that completes the expression. It's still not a full, clear expression. It's called yadais, like the handle of the pot. So you grab the pot by way of its handle. A partial expression is tantamount to a reference to the full neder. We learned from the pasuk, as we had yesterday. But it has to have some inkling of a neder meaning. You can't just say, mudrani mimcha, what, when. Says Shmuel, you have to add part 2, some sort of elaboration, shani toyim lacha. Meisvi, here comes a kasha from our brisa, which indicates otherwise. That mudrani mimcha is perfectly fine on its own. That is also considered a yad. You don't need part 2, like shani oichel lacha, or shani toyim lacha. Meisvi, mudrani mimcha, mufreshani mimcha, murchakani mimcha. One of these 3 expressions create Isser. Hareza Aser. There's a neder between us. We're distant. We're separated. That's enough. The Brisa continues. Shani Eichel. The food that I can have from you is Aser to me. Shani Toim Lecha. The food that I can taste of yours is Aser to me. Here as well. Hareza Aser. These are L'shainis of Isser. Clearly, Miruchakanim Imcha or Mudwanim Imcha is alone considered a Yad. Unlike Shmuel, who requires part A and part B for Isser. The Brisa means like this. You don't need both parts. Actually, you do need both parts, sorry. But Medva Mamurim, when do we say that those short form Nedarim, those brief expressions, like Murfashanim Imcha, like Murdanim Imcha, like Murchakanim Imcha, work? But Medva Mamurim, when is that so? Bo'imer, provided he added part 2. So instead on top of Murdanim Imcha, he said, Shani Eichelacha. So he clarified his intentions. Or Shani Toim Lecha. And this is like Shmuel, that both parts are needed. But we have a Brisa which sequenced the order in the reverse. It started with Shani Eichelacha, Shani Toim Lecha. These two types of expressions, Asur, they create a neder. And the Brisa concludes, Mudranim Imcha, or Ufrashanim Imcha, or Murchakanim Imcha. These two, Hareza Asur. Now here it's a bit hard to explain, as we did in the first Brisa. Right? Because here the Brisa begins with Shani Eichelacha. And then goes to, the shorter forms, Mudranim Imcha. Now, if he already said Shani Toim Lecha, all agree. Even Shmuel would agree. You don't have to add anything more. Shani Toim Lecha is a pretty clear expression. It certainly is considered a Yad. Right? Your food is Aser to me. You don't need the second part, Mudranim Imcha. Right? So, it would seem that the Brisa number 2 here is making reference to two different types of expressions, both of which are legally binding. Whether, the first part, which was Mudranim Imcha, or Mefreshanim Imcha, or Mechakanim Imcha, that's Isser. And likewise, Shani Toim Lecha, on its own is us. You don't need to combine the two. And that's a kasha on Shmuel, who said, well, Mudranim Imcha alone is not enough. You need to add part 2, Shani Toim Lecha. Says the Gemara, no. Not so terrible. We can revise, reinterpret the Brisa in line with Shmuel. Tani Hachi. Interpret the Brisa like this. So Brisa number 2 began with Shani Eichelacha, or Shani Toim Lecha. And the Brisa said it's Aser. And the Brisa concluded with Mudranim Imcha. You know what the Brisa meant? Ukvar Amar Mudrani. The main expression is Shani Toim Lecha. That's what triggers Isser. That is considered a true Yad, because there's a pretty clear reference to refraining from eating his friend's items. And the Brisa concluded with an important side point. That even had he have already said, if he would have expressed the words Mudranim Imcha, that wouldn't have been enough. So that was the Brisa's point. Shani Toim Lecha makes Isser, and that is needed. He has to add that even if he already said Mudranim Imcha, that wouldn't be enough. Because Mudranim Imcha without part 2, Shani Toim Lecha, is a problem. Is an incomplete expression that doesn't mean much. If that's the case, if that's what the Brisa meant, that Mudranim Imcha needs to come on to part 2, Shani Toim Lecha, isn't that the very same halacha that we learned in Brisa number 1, right, as we explained before? So why did the Brisa number 2 switch its order? It almost sounds like it's telling you something else. If Brisa number 1 and Brisa number 2 are coming to teach us the very same halacha, wouldn't they sequence their words in similar fashion? What do we find? Brisa number 1 sequenced upside down the Brisa number 2, which almost sounds like they're both teaching us different things. Void, another problem with your pshat. Asur lamali. Why does the Brisa start, with one set of expressions and says asur, and then another set of expressions and again asur? The Brisa is coming to tell you that you need both sets. Why would you have asur at the end as well? Just have it in the middle. Say, this is Asr, provided you added that. And that's it. Instead, what does the Brisa say? This is Asr, and that's Asr, which sounds like they're independently Asr. You don't need one with the other. Void Asr, Asr, Lamali Lemisni. You're right, says the Gemara. Let's redo the whole sugya. We thought that according to Shmuel, Mudrani Mimcha is not enough. It is. Ella. Hachik Amar Shmuel. Shmuel simply meant as follows. Just the opposite. If anything, Mudrani Mimcha is even worse than Shani Eichelach. Tama de Amar. Shani Eichelach. Shani Toyemlach. Hu de Asr v'chaveri mutter. When the Mishnah tells us that by making this sort of partial, abbreviated expression of neder, you become asr on your friend's belongings, on your friend's food or whatever. So it's a one-way isser. You can't benefit from your friend, but your friend could benefit from you. You know when that applies? When you said sha'ani eichelach, sha'ani toimlach. So in that case, who asr? I'm, who this man who said it myself, right? I'm asr. The chaver mutter, my friend, is mutter. Because there's no isra on my friend. I made the isra, not him. So it's a limited restriction. But, says Shmuel, suppose he used different language. Mudrani emecha. Lichude, without adding, shani taimlecha. Guess what happens? It's even worse. It's a two-way mutual isra. Shnein asurin. Reuben is asr on Shimon and Shimon on Reuben. Why? Explains Rashi. The Ran, I mean. Let's see the Ran inside. So it's on the left column here. The Amar Rabbi Yisrael Chanina on the top line. Mudrani emecha shneim asurin. Nira be'enai. Says the Ran, why? Nira be'enai da hainu taima. Mishum da mashma mudrani unachasai mimcha unachasecha. When I say mudrani emecha, you know what I'm saying? I'm not specifying a specific meal that I'm not having from you. All my belongings are separate from you and your belongings. Now, I can understand I am separate. I'm not going to partake. My belongings, I'm not partaking in you. What does that mean? My belongings are inanimate. They're not people. Oh, so apparently, since included in myself and my person are my belongings, they too will be separate from you. What do I mean to say? You keep away from my belongings. You can't have mine. Because otherwise nechasim lav b'nei is sanuyi mechaverinin. Otherwise, why did I reference my belongings? My belongings are away from you. They don't do anything. My belongings is not people. You know what I meant? You keep away from my belongings. So it's a mutual disengagement. So back to the Gemara. But suppose he simply said Mudrani Emecha, it makes it worse. It turns it from a one-way street to a two-way street. As such, the Amar Reis Rechanina, Mudrani Emecha Shneim Asur. So instead of understanding Shmuel one way, Shmuel was being lenient. Just the opposite. Sha'ani Taimlach, Sha'ani Eichelach specifies that it's just from me to you. I can't have yours. But simply saying Mudrani Emecha without adding any more elaboration, that triggers a mutual disengagement. Okay, so back to the top, we had Shaila, how do we apply Baal Ta'achar to a Nazir? Either you are or you're not. So today we added 3 more Pshatim. He became a Nazir in a Beis HaKvaros. Get out quickly. That's Baal Ta'achar. Or you're delaying the shaving of the hair, or delaying the karbonis. 3 examples of Baal Ta'achar that apply to Nazirs. Why do we need a new Baal Ta'achar for karbonis of Nazir? We already know that Baal Ta'achar applies to karbonis. Perhaps Nazir is different. Why? Because we see that all the karbonis are not ma'akiv the Nazir. So perhaps Baal Ta'achar wouldn't apply as well. Or because Nazir is unique in a sense that you can't just donate, out of the blue, you can't donate the carbon of Nazir. So you see it's lacking. It's not fully a nether-related commitment. And it's also not coming to be mechaper. Perhaps Baal Ta'achar wouldn't apply. That's why we need a special pasuk. What else do we learn from nether to nazir? A father and a husband have the ability to nullify. Naziris as well. And we have the Shmuel's Chiddush, that in terms of Yodis, you have to be careful how you say it. If you say, look, I'm keeping away from you in terms of Shani Oichel Lacha, that's a one-way disengagement. I can't have from you. But Madrani Emecha, that's an all-encompassing disengagement, affecting both parties who must separate from each other. All the best to you, and Hatzlacha Rabbah.